God is not a compromise for me. Jesus is not a compromise for me. I believe in Jesus. We don't do voodoo here. We don't do muti. We don't sacrifice to ancestors here.
Yes.
If you lose yourself, you never had yourself.
Okay.
Sometimes you can find a relationship before you find yourself. If a woman does not know who she is and she falls in love with a person like me, who's very aware of who I am, she'll lose herself. And welcome to another installment of our amazing, life-changing podcast. And yet again, I'm here with this amazing gentleman here who is always full of questions. How are you today?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm great. So me and this gentleman are not into the habit of wasting time. So without any further ado, and how's the weather in South Africa? How is, because for us it's winter now. You guys in the UK, it's always winter. What would you say about our winter?
Your winter? Normally when I come in winter, your winter is not that serious, but this time
This time
it's getting
we're
serious.
bringing out the big guns this time. All right. So without any further ado, over to you with your questions for today.
All right. My first question for today is based on just life as a whole. And I want to know, is love a choice and how can we navigate it?
Okay. So let me put a disclaimer before we get in there. So today we are more social. We're not only, we're just more social. As the church, we are called to speak on all topics, not just only issues in the church. And so today we are wider. And okay, please repeat that again.
So the question is love a choice and how can we navigate it? And just for to pinpoint what we're discussing right now, is it advice to work through major issues or just to separate and things like that?
So firstly, is love a choice or?
Is love a choice and how do we navigate it?
And how do we navigate it? Yes, love is a choice. And by choice, I mean decision. Because I always explain the concept of love as, for example, marriage is the only thing where you get the certificate in the beginning.
Yes.
Everything else, you have to finish it, then get the certificate at the end. And I find that like marriage, giving you the certificate at the beginning, love gives you all the emotions at the beginning. That's why people don't call it getting into love, they call it falling into love. That term falling defines their ability not to be able to control what they're feeling.
Yes.
They call it falling because the emotion is so strong, they feel it can drive them to places that scare them. And that's why there's so much music that comes from love.
Yeah.
It's people trying to manage the falling part of it. So the feeling is the petrol or the gas for the destination. It's not, but a time comes when the feelings are not as strong, meaning love is a decision, it's a choice. The feelings are the fuel for the journey. But imagine you having fuel or petrol to drive from here to Durban and you're just doing donuts and spinning.
Yes.
So those emotions that you feel are for the entire time. This is my belief as a man of God or as a person that believes in God. And the Bible says God is love. I believe that if those feelings are strong, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Those feelings are structured in that sense,
Yes.
from my perspective, that they're just there to help you for the journey. Yes.
Okay, so on that journey, if you do run out of feelings or it's slowing down.
Then the decision steps in.
Okay.
Then the choice steps in, meaning is love a choice and how can we navigate it? You navigate it by when the feelings run out, your choice remains. And that takes us to a totally different topic, which is manhood. I believe being a man is the core of it, from my perspective, is about being a great decision maker and sticking to what you've decided.
Okay.
I think manhood has a lot to do with not having the ability to have redos and re-goes. Because sometimes redos are okay. Mercy is great.
Yes.
Oh no, you can try again. It's fine. We all make mistakes. But genuinely, I feel being a man has a lot to do with not having the ability to have redos. That caution is not to tell you that life should be merciless towards you, but it should alert you to a point where when you take a decision, you make sure.
And you stay
So I think, yes. So meaning, then the decision you take carries you.
So you wouldn't advise someone in certain situations just to give up on a relationship or just to leave the relationship?
You need to talk to a person before you need
Yes.
to talk to a person. If you end a relationship, you didn't talk enough.
Yeah.
You didn't talk enough. And we live in a time where manhood is not highlighted or taught or embraced with so much grace. And it's what is it? It's Father's Day on the 16th.
Yes.
Not on the 16th. I'm not sure. I think 15th. I'm not
Yes,
sure.
it's on Sunday.
It's the least important holiday according to the demographics of the most important holidays.
Yeah.
Like literally Father's Day is right there. But that's not the point. But my point is manhood or it's not really embraced. How many women are women activists?
Yeah.
Girls, women need to know young girls need to know how to navigate. You don't find a lot of that for men.
Yeah.
And so it puts relationships in a situation where the guy kind of might not be 100% sure of his role. You see, he might know his role because he's a man by genetics, but the intricate details of how to handle certain matters, he might not know.
Yeah.
You see, because relationships fail because of, I thought you had it. I thought you were going to take care of it, and you thought I was going to take care of it. So no one took care of it.
Yeah.
Or we both took care of something that belonged to you, and nobody took care of something that belonged to me.
Yeah.
So, I remember talking to a divorce lawyer who said, the way he sees marriage, this is someone who's always helping people get divorced. It's like a full orange. You want only the orange. I want only the orange juice. We can get 100% of what we want. But we don't know that all you want is the juice and all you want is the orange.
Okay, yeah.
So we end up arguing about the compromises that need to be made and the roles. So I feel like relationships fail less when roles are fully defined.
Yeah. You see, I like how you said that it's a decision and also a lot of people don't know how to. On that topic, do you think we can learn to love, or is it just an emotion that you have?
I think love is a decision. You can't learn to decide.
Okay.
You can decide. One thing I appreciate about harshness is that it makes the line very clear.
Yeah.
One thing I appreciate less about the time we're in is people get too sensitive to put lines on the sand. Like if you know that this is me and this is you. Okay, let me put it this way. There's so many people that are married by default. There's so many people that are married. They didn't intend to marry that one. You see, intentions matter.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something so crazy. For me to enter your marriage and counsel the two of you is tricky because feelings also motivated the decisions.
Yeah.
And the feelings could also be motivated by something that you saw in her that I can't see in her.
Yeah.
So, true counseling comes from within you. You know what you are willing to do and what you're not willing to do. Because the strength is in the feelings.
Yes.
Like you are in uni right now, you're almost finished, you know what you're going to do, but the strength is in the drive of being successful in what you want to do. I can get you in school. I can't make you passionate about your career.
Of course.
So the passion can't be mathematically calculated. I guess I'm saying that to say to gentlemen, if you don't like her, leave her. Go for who you like. And when you find who you like, talk to the person you like about how things should at least kind of be, you know? And if it's a worthy compromise, no one gets 100% of what they want, but they only get worthy compromises.
Okay.
So if it's a worthy compromise and there's a lot of want in you for that individual, only then it works.
Okay. So you mentioned how some people just get in relationships by default. I wanted to ask then, on that note, is it compromising or settling? Like, in certain situations, you're getting with someone, are you just being realistic about the situation and saying, this is the most realistic option?
I think we lost an ability to discern, an ability to decide, an ability to know what's good and not know and know what's bad. That's why we are driven by influence. You can be so influence driven that when you have to make a decision that is only based on you, you don't know how to decide.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to the influence. Now you when there's no voices in your ears or friends in your ears, you're not sure if she's the one or not. And because she's now pursuing, you end up accepting.
Yeah.
But then, you see, initially the marriage, at the end of the day, relies on the man. A lot of marriages end because the guy gave up, not because the woman gives up.
Yeah.
And because the guy felt a burden. So that's why it's not a good thing for the woman to choose you.
Okay.
The woman can choose you, the emotions come, but when the emotions are gone, decision won't carry what you never chose.
Okay, yeah.
So I think what we need is the choosing ability. How do you choose the right partner? Are you feeling the person?
Yes. So
You know, and I'm using that feeling term in a very modern, youthful way. Do you
Yes.
like the person? Do you feel a connection towards that person? Because relationships are burdensome.
yeah. it
Very
can be-
burdensome.
can be a
Very
big burden.
burdensome. And I mean that in an overall sense. So you at least if you are drawn towards the person, then it is then a worthy burden and a worthy compromise.
Yes.
And the worthy meaning the motivation you receive in the relationship.
All right. So another question on the topic of love. Can you survive without feelings or emotional connections to another person?
Phew. Can the relationship survive?
Can the person survive? So do you need that love? Do you need relationships?
It should be able. Okay, let me talk for me. You see, the thing is this: I'm such a man that I can that. Let me just say, I'm approaching it from a man's standpoint.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely. We are not much feelers anyway. But you have to be moved in the beginning. You have to be moved. You have to be moved by that person. Like they
Yeah.
have to move you. Like you can see the emotion in that statement that I'm putting in. Because if the person doesn't move you, then you'll move from the person.
I agree with
You
you.
have to be moved. And when I say yes, you can survive without emotion, it's because we are not that emotion driven sometimes.
Yeah.
But we can be driven by motivation, by things we like. You know, there's a lot that can drive us.
Yeah.
But you have to be moved, you know.
Okay.
And you know, this world we live in, it's smoke and mirrors. You know,
Yeah.
there's so many women that have the right, that look the part, that you can say. So someone might say now, because there's so many women that are half naked on the internet and that look good, my conversation is useless because I'm just saying you have to find something that drives you. See,
Yeah.
See, it sounds useless. But the truth of the matter is, it's different meeting a person in person
Of course.
and talking to the person and relating with the person, and you need to study the urgency in a person. If and men should know these red flags. Study the urgency in the lady. The lady might be, I don't have time. Fear urgency in a lady.
Okay.
Because if she has too much urgency, she can leave you. You get what I mean?
She's rushing.
If there's a level of urgency, be careful. And you know why I'm saying this? Because brothers can be lovers, especially when they are attracted. Someone will not want to leave that environment. And will bring an answer for every excuse, for every wrong thing that the person does. So study the urgency. Is the person calm? It's not about the presence, the absence of man, even if it's man or whatever. But urgency is what you look at.
Okay.
I don't know what the person's after, but urgency.
Okay. So if they're in a rush and they're just
If
trying
they're
to
in a
rush,
rush, man, it's not a wife. If they're in a rush,
Okay.
it's not going to end in marriage. If they're in a rush, if they're in a rush, you're not the one. You're not the one
what if they are in a rush to do things and really like get married?
to
and
get
stuff like-
married. But now I'm not God. I never made your biological clock time out.
Yeah.
I never made it late for you. You know, and it also applies to women.
Yeah.
Women can take it and look at it the other way around. Like if a guy is rushing, maybe he's rushing for the wrong reasons.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, so but guys are the ones who don't invest in looking at red flags. And let me tell you the thing about being a man. You might not think you are looking for love. You might be like, no, I'm in that era where I'm not looking. And then you see a person, you meet a person, and then boom.
Yeah.
You know,
It just happens.
It just happens. So the reason why men don't really have these type of conversations is because we are not actively looking.
Yeah.
It is only women who are actively looking to be looked at.
Yeah.
But they can't decide. Only we can. But we are really, to be honest, majority of men are not actively looking. But it's something that hits them when they meet you, when they see you. And someone's like, I think I'm ready to get married next week. So, yeah.
Okay. Oof. Let's see now. I think when it comes to relationships, a lot of people can use the statement that they feel like they've lost themselves within a relationship. Is that necessarily a bad thing, losing yourself or losing who you was within a relationship?
If you lose yourself, you never had yourself.
Okay.
Sometimes you can find a relationship before you find yourself. You can't lose yourself. You know, let me make an example for you. But now it goes back to what I said in the beginning. There's not enough things being done for men, you know, and which is okay. It's fine. I'm not God. I'm not going to make all these things happen. People have to be willing and put these things in motion. But it's like every question you ask stresses the importance of that, and it mentally takes me to that place. And the identity of a man is to be a decider, like I said. And if you're a real decider, you can't lose yourself.
Of course.
You get my point?
Yeah.
Because you've decided. You know, many people don't understand what I mean by deciding. Like, there are people that have vowed. I've never do. Okay, I'll make a very crazy example. I remember traveling a long distance with my son. And, you know, on the way, maybe it was an 8-hour drive. He was like, we stopped because he's like, I'm tired now. I got him pizza. We drove for an hour. He vomited. The guy made a vow to never eat pizza again.
Yeah.
He doesn't eat pizza until now.
Yeah.
If he sees you eating pizza, he's like, this one doesn't know.
Yeah.
I know that's that's an example that doesn't matter. You know, it can be argued to be wrong. But my point is, as a man, you have to decide. You know, like, no, get to a point of saying, I will never do that.
Yeah.
That I can do. That I can compromise for. That I can. When you have those marks and those points, and you have to choose them. I can't tell you what should not be done. Then I'm forming me in you.
Yeah.
And when the storm comes, the me in you will be melted away by the storm, and you'll remain being identityless.
Yeah.
because you never found yourself. You only found me. So what I'm trying to say is being a man is having pillars that can't be shaken.
Yeah.
If you don't take nonsense, you don't take it. But in this area, doesn't mean you don't have compromise, love, support, humility, a genuine husband, loving, caring, who's willing to go the distance for his wife or his girlfriend or his partner.
Yeah.
That being a man and having boundaries does not mean being mean. It just means, man, having those, because, you know, women will shake those, they will test if there's pillars there. And this is why other people lose themselves, because a woman thought there were pillars here and she discovers there's none. And then her personality becomes so loud around this person that when she leaves, you are left forgetting who you were.
Yeah.
See?
So for the majority of times, though, as we said, men don't actually plan on falling in love, and it just happens. In those cases, if you haven't got your foundation straight and you haven't found yourself yet, and you happen to just fall in love, what would your advice be? Is it to wait?
You are in a school, that's a lesson. It will hurt you, beat you up, strangle you emotionally, and leave you there.
Yeah.
Because you need to find yourself first.
Okay.
Like, let me make the smallest example. God is not a compromise for me. Jesus is not a compromise for me. I believe in Jesus. We don't do voodoo here. We don't do muti. We don't sacrifice to ancestors here.
Yes.
We sacrifice to Jesus. We serve Jesus. That's the first thing off the bed. And then it adds from there. You know, there are certain things, but it doesn't mean there's no love, respect, caring for the next person, all these things.
Yeah.
It just means as a man, there are pillars that belong to you. You are not out here trying to shove those pillars down the whole world, but there should be at least a number of pillars for someone being with you. There should be a qualifying phase where if a person can't conquer those pillars, they can't belong to you.
Yeah.
Because if they enter in your life, those pillars are the same things that will get the person out. Imagine if, personally, I know you as a very chilled guy, quiet guy, but I'm being hypothetical. I'm not saying that's you. Imagine if you don't like a noisy person at 6 in the morning. Maybe that's a big deal for you.
Yeah.
And maybe that's no deal for the next person. And you accept all these things and a person that parties and this, that, and you accept them, but it's not you.
Yes.
You accept them because the feeling you have is willing to carry. As the feelings fade out, the pillars start becoming clearer.
Yeah.
And the pillars are going to kick her out.
And then you realize.
You see, you're going to realize that I don't belong. So for a man to belong to you as a lady, you have to be a place of identity for him. Men have their home in the hearts of women.
Yes.
But now that woman has to actually be the home.
Yeah.
There has to be a level of, you know, when you enter your house, like when I enter my house, I don't enter boom and I bump the wall or I bump the corridor. I know I enter like this, I move this way, I move this way, I go up the stairs, I turn this. I know the corridors of my house. I don't just bump around.
Yes.
I'm saying that to say the corridors accommodate my move. If I'm turning left, the corridor is turning left. If I'm going the stairs, take me up. You know, if I want to enter the room, the door is open for me. What I'm saying is that's a woman's heart for a man. It accommodates him and understands him. And in return, he has to give value to the environment he's in. And that heart, that's actually a home. But he needs to know himself. He needs to find himself. This conversation could be heard in reverse. If a woman does not know who she is and she falls in love with a person like me, who's very aware of who I am, she'll lose herself.
Okay.
She'll totally lose herself because I have a job of loving and taking care of you. I don't have the job to give you an identity. I'm not a woman. How can I give a woman identity when I'm not a woman?
Yeah. You see, I think when it comes to discernment and compromise, it's kind of a gray area because we don't really know what to compromise on. as you said, some people might be loud at 6 a.m., might be more outgoing and just doing a lot.
The compromises should be structured according to Tabiso. According to me, the compromises, I should decide. The compromises can't all be the same because we don't feel the same things.
Of course, yes.
There are people that feel like being addressed in a certain way is disrespectful. But those guys are very nice people. They don't have anger issues. They just feel like if you address me this way, it's disrespectful. There's people that don't mind being addressed anyhow. That seem like pretty cool, but they have anger issues.
Yeah.
They can get aggressive. See, so being strict, ladies, is not a sign of an abuser.
Yeah.
It's not, because the most abusive people I've met are very chill.
Yeah.
They don't mind anything. So even abuse, whether it's verbal, whether it's in any form, whether it's from the woman to the man or the man to the woman, abuse is a result of not knowing who you are and not actually having an identity.
No, 100%.
So I guess I'm just saying, to answer your question, how should compromise be structured? We can't say that because the two of you are structured in a way that we don't know. Each and every person is unique. No one has the same two sets of fingerprints. So identity now, compromises are structured according to the two people. That's why these people must talk.
Yes.
And must get to those things. And if you like her, one thing men don't do, because we even too lazy to chase. If you like her now, and she's not the one.
Yeah.
Because I'm chasing, she's running. I'm chasing, she's running. And she's running because, not that she does not want a man with the worth I have, but because she thinks I won't have it together in the next 2 years.
Okay.
Sometimes you must know to cut the cord. Because sometimes you must. Because if someone is not for you, they are not for you. And guys don't get that.
Yeah, they keep trying.
They don't get it. If someone is not for you, that person is not for you. And that person has the right to tell you no.
Yeah.
They have the right to close the door in it. They do.
Yeah.
This is, in South Africa, we have a lot of women abuse, murders. It's very painful. I don't know in the UK, but my point is, we need to learn these things, man. Like, I'm part of a organization called the Bold Men Foundation. We're in Centurion, and we, there I'm not a pastor there.
Yeah.
It's an organization. We are in a physical building. Maybe I'll call out the address. But men come, they get taught life skills, they get taught mentorship. The ambassador of Sweden to South Africa is also a member, and so many other people. And we are just there helping men become better. So that's why it's a touching subject to me. And now I don't want to stop. But let me let you drive it. So apologies for overindulging.
No, it's all right.
You're welcome.
Okay, so on the topic of love, I want to move on to now passion. I think there's many ways to experience love, and it's not only within relationships. But when it comes to passion, there's a lot of moral questions. So on the topic of crimes of passion, I want to know, can we do wrong for the right reasons? So, for example, if you have a family member that has gone through something and you want to make it right, but the only way to make it right is through wrong, is that now a moral contradiction?
Man, I love your questions. Oh, goodness. You know what I love about the question is the reality in the statement.
Yeah.
Like crimes of passion. Someone can kill. I remember growing up, there was a gentleman who was a policeman. He shot himself and his entire family.
Really?
Yeah, it was very sad, very sad. So those are literally crimes of passion, The crimes of passion are due to the lack of control.
Yeah.
They're due to the lack of control when you feel like you are not in control of a situation, but you're attached in a situation.
Yeah.
So crimes of passion to me only state the importance of identity. And maybe, this word identity is passed around so much in in the modern space that we end up not knowing how to get identity, what identity is. Because everybody's like, identity, this. So what is identity? Identity is, now this is a partial definition, you know, so it can't be wrong. It's pillars of decisions, pillars of things you'll never change.
Yeah.
So literally, identity can be defined as stubbornness. Like, and you know what? You can't enjoy life without identity, because then that enjoyment has no purpose. That enjoyment is not an achievement.
Yeah.
If I have a pillar, you know, a stubbornness that says I have to reward myself after every million I make. Okay, no, I'm calling big figures. People will. All right, fine. After every million I make,
Yeah.
and I'm halfway there, and I'm crying. I'm in pain. I'm emotional. I want to just go on vacation, but I'm like, no, I've got another halfway to go.
Yeah.
And I push, and I get there. Now the pillar that I put there says I can go to vacation anywhere after.
Yeah.
Now, when I go to that vacation, there's a reward feeling
Yeah.
from that vacation. It's not just, there's a celebration that comes from that. It's not just pointless.
You earned it. Yes.
You see? So identity gives your life a structure that allows you to rotate around something.
Yeah.
I am a person who, I don't have much family.
Yeah.
Like biologically, and you know, I'm basically kind of alone in that regard of a huge family. Now imagine if you were that person and you've worked hard enough and you're successful enough to have all the money,
No.
and you are not married, you don't have a wife, you don't have kids, you don't have anything. What do you rotate around now? You see?
Yeah.
Yes, you can go to the job, go to the gym, but that feeling of emptiness will be driven by the absence of identity. Identity, which is pillars of stubbornness, of saying, I'll never do this, I'll never do that, I'll always do this, I will never change this principle.
Yes.
And so, in a nutshell, right, that initially means I'm going on this vacation now, but now it's rewarding. I'm living for something. I'm alone. I'm at the beach celebrating,
Yeah.
being happy, but I'm living for something. To you, it's pointless. Now, imagine if I had all the money, but I didn't have those principles, and I just go to the beach anytime. I go on vacation. Is it rewarding?
It means nothing.
I can be there and be depressed and end up taking
Yeah.
drugs while I'm on that vacation.
Yeah.
So true identity means pillars, man. It means pillars. It means I will never do this.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can discover that about yourself in a fight,
Yeah.
unplanned. You're arguing with your friend, brother, cousin, sister, mother, and you find yourself that I'll never do this. Now, those things are highlights of what can be chosen as those pillars.
Yeah.
You see? Now, it's a way of finding yourself because you know what you never do, you know what you'd be willing to do, you know, and that really makes a man with a backbone and a woman with a backbone and someone that is actually lovable.
Yeah.
So that's the whole. That's my explanation around identity. And I need to go back now to the crazy question. I forgot. That's why I'm saying it boils down to decision making.
Yeah.
Like if someone broke into my house as a man of God, and let's say my family is there, everybody is there, and they broke in the house and they have guns or they intend to harm, you tell me, would you consider it wrong for me to shoot those people and kill?
From my own personal
From
morals.
your perspective now.
Not at all.
I don't think so too. I don't think so.
Yeah.
They can say, what kind of man of God is this? The one that wants a family that's alive.
Yeah.
Not a dead one. I have a friend of mine, he was going through something similar and he killed the people.
Yeah.
So I don't consider that wrong given those circumstances. But For someone to go out there and to go looking for trouble, and no. For someone to be unable to express their feelings now and end up harming a partner, no, man. No, that's bad.
But on both sides of the spectrum, you can also look at it as those people breaking into your house was in a situation where they felt like they had a family to look after, the same way you would kill those people looking after your family. So how can we say who's right and wrong in the situation?
Imagine this, as you're speaking, I'm just imagining, there's a friend, these are real stories, man. I remember driving, and I was listening to this on the radio. 3 kids, they don't belong to this brother.
Yeah.
He thought these kids were his.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and now he's already in that situation. So what do you do? Now I'm asking you. I'm not gonna let you ask me
What do I do?
and let you scot-free. Never. You with your partner.
Yeah.
You love her so much. 3 kids.
And he raised
You have
those
3
kids.
kids and you raise those kids and you discover
Okay.
they're not yours.
You see, I think it's a very hard situation because at the end of the day, biologically, those are not your kids, but you've raised the kids. So it's hard to say you can just detach yourself emotionally from that. But at the same time, I think it would put you through a sense of, there's just a lot of emotions that you can't regulate. You don't know if you should leave. You don't know if you should stay. So it is very hard.
Yes, the best thing is to leave or to love. See, even me, I can't fully answer that because at the end of the day, but I think it's best to leave.
You think it's best to leave?
I think it's best to leave. I think it's one of those situations where you'll do bad. You'll do bad.
Oh, yes, eventually.
Yes, eventually.
Eventually.
You'll harm the person, you'll harm your partner,
Yeah.
whom you love. It's not really about the kids. I think you'll always love the kids,
Yes.
but I think you'll end there. And this is not to say, you see, I want to say this. Even if you end up in that situation as a man, okay, I'm not blaming people that found themselves in those situations, but I'm just saying finding your identity before everything
Yeah.
avoids a lot of things.
Yeah.
If I find my identity, I know my pillars, and I say, hi, nice lady, how are you? My name is so-and-so. I'm interested in a relationship. And nice lady says, okay, let's get to know each other. Now it's the stage of pillars. Oh, I'm like this, you. And that lady does not match me, but she loves me. It has to end, my brother.
Yeah, but
It has to end, my brother. Because if it doesn't end and it continues, I'm going to inconvenience that woman to a point where things like that can become a reality.
yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
you are making sense.
You are not a FNB. You are not a charity organization. You are not here to save every woman going through a situation by
course
marrying
not.
her.
Yeah.
That's not your job title. That's why it has to be possible, not difficult, to cut her off. It's a starting phase. Nothing has happened. It's not like you've impregnated her or done anything. You are still learning each other. You're talking on the phone and you discover the pillars are not the same.
Yeah.
If you force it, my God, you are heading for a disaster. It's one of 2 things. It's either you really don't care about that person and you only intend on using her and cutting her off, or you're heading for a disaster. See.
Okay. You see, we've discussed being the victim of the crime, but now when you're committing the crime, I feel like a lot of people don't look into the psychological background of that person committing the crime. And can we say it's fair to judge without knowing the full story? A lot of people, for example, in impoverished areas, they commit crimes for survival. Can we now say that person's in the wrong, or are they just trying to help themselves?
They are trying to help themselves. Because there's the guy. Look what's happening out there, man. Look at look at the society. Things are imbalanced. Things are bad. The government is making promises. The government doesn't need to promise anyone anything. The government can shut up, and people can eventually learn to do it without the government.
Yeah.
Now the government is there. The government is like an absent father that says, I'll buy you a bicycle next week.
Yeah.
Like you are not in my radar.
Yeah.
You are not in my memory radar. Now you are putting yourself in that radar and you're giving me anger towards you. So those people, man, look, they are just trying to survive, but I think they're relying on the government mentality is finishing them, and it's causing them to feel justified
Yeah.
for what they're doing.
Okay.
You know, I always say this, that you know, there's people that live on the street. The ones where I live, I won't say where I live, are better than the ones in Sentin.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I visit. I don't know. The ones in Sentin, if they clean your window, if you don't give them money, even if they don't clean your window, they want to beat your car up. They just want to. They're aggressive.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not used to this type. I'm used to the type that I can give you 2 rand if I have. I can give you money. If I don't have, I don't have.
Yeah.
You know, you'll have to understand. Those ones now, they want to be aggressive. And so that is what is called entitlement.
Yeah.
Where you feel entitled to something that is not necessarily yours. And so my point of view on people who commit crime to get by is, yeah, you know, a lot of people were robbed the opportunity to be developed properly.
Yeah.
They were robbed that opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes, it's wrong. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's wrong. But you were deprived of an opportunity to be raised properly. And I pray that the grace of God finds you and grants you an opportunity. And that and that you learn, open your mind up. I would say to that person, open your mind up to learning how to make money, how to be in business, how to do things the right way. As much as sometimes the right way feels like a long cut, but the shortcut is jail, which is a long cut.
Yeah.
So they need to learn, man. There's no shortcut around their situation. It's just a bad situation.
Yeah.
You are in poverty. No, me, I don't feel remorse for people in poverty. Because if you feel remorse for people in poverty, they'll feel remorse for themselves.
Yeah.
I recently took someone off the street and got them an apartment and helped them get a job in security. Off the street to security. Because I don't feel remorse for them.
Yeah.
If I feel remorse for them, oh, shame. Oh, now my feelings are already manipulated in how I conversate to you.
Yeah.
Now I can't talk to you man to man. I have to talk to you wealth to poverty.
Yes.
You see, I don't feel remorse for poor people. I've been poor before too.
Yeah.
So I just understand what it's like being there. Not that I'm remorseful. And if you are poor and you feel remorse for yourself, get rid of that thing. It's not going to help you rise. You know? And you know what makes poor people feel remorseful? It is the people around them. Trust me, it's like a baby. You know a child.
Yeah.
When a child falls and hits their head against something, everybody says, ksh, 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 ksh. Don't say, oh, sorry. And if we all ignore it, they continue.
Yeah.
They get up, they dust themselves off, they continue. What happens when all of us are like, oh, what happens?
Yeah. They end up crying.
They end up crying.
Yeah.
Why are they crying? Because our reaction is telling them that, oh, you're in such a bad situation.
Yeah.
Oh, what's happening to you so bad? And for me, and I consider myself rich, you consider me arrogant, I don't consider you at all. You don't exist in my radar. I consider, and that's rejection. I consider myself rich, but let me explain something to you. I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you how. If now I can't maintain my lifestyle, I can't maintain anything, and I have to move to Soweto, I'll move to Soweto. I'll move to Tembisa because I'm not remorseful for that area and the people there. It's a form of lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's a cheaper lifestyle. And if I move to Tembisa, if now I manage, maybe if I move, just know that I'm getting richer because I no longer have to pay for this.
Yeah.
I no longer have to. I can just buy a guinia there for R1, and that's it. I'm rich now.
Yeah.
To you guys, I'll be rich. You get
Yeah.
what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is that remorse is the devil. That's where the devil is. That's where and I don't mean it. I mean in the sense that's where the issue is.
Yeah.
Because if you feel remorseful towards less, then when you won't be able to adjust your gears
Yeah.
and adjust your life to, okay, let me move to a cheaper apartment. Okay, let me downgrade the car. Okay, let me give the bank its car and let me save my money while
Yeah.
taking Ubers to get my own vehicle.
Yeah.
You won't be able to do that because you're remorseful and you'll be sitting at the back of the Uber tearing up crying because you think being in an Uber is a bad situation. It's the wrong mentality.
Yeah. You see, I agree with you, but okay, I've studied criminology and I like the psychological aspect of criminal minds. I feel like, just to play devil's advocate, lack of remorse can also cause a lot of psychological issues. People grow up in these areas, and even though in the whole world, crime is not a social norm, in these areas, crime is the norm. So the lack of remorse now, people can say to each other, no one is actually going to help us in this situation. For some people,
But
that really...
nobody should.
But
No, if you feel like someone will help you, that's the birth of criminology, criminal crimist.
But that feeling that no one will help you can either lead you to being successful for yourself or lead you to saying, you know what, I can go through crime.
I can take crime as a
because
route. Hey,
no
it's
one's going to
bad
help
then.
me.
Hey, then you're a crazy criminal. Hey, we're scared of you now. We'll just shoot you. No problem. I mean, look, the problem is the remorse, man. Like if there's no remorse, and you know, sometimes it's remorse, then from remorse it's anger.
Yeah.
Then from anger, it's all these feelings, shame combined. But initially, it becomes a drive.
Yeah.
Let me show you what I mean. Look at fashion. Look at Balenciaga and all these brands. They can be torn jeans, ugly. They look dirty. I'm like, what is this? Now, I paid $50,000 for this.
Yeah.
Like, really? You paid $3,000 or And I'm like, okay, but who decided that jeans should be worth that?
Yeah.
Before you answer, influence decided. Society decided. So society has the ability to make useless useful, to make lack wealth, to make living in a one room cooler than living in a mansion. One rooms could be the new mansions based on influence. So in other words, you are influenced into feeling like sleeping, only eating rice and this and that, that's cheap.
Yes.
So these are things that undermine survival, these mentalities. And you'll be surviving well, but then you will get to a point of saying, oh, damn, I'm not surviving. See, now if there was no pressure of the society, you would be like, I want better for my family. You would see that for yourself. It's painful when the world makes you see that before you do.
Yeah.
Imagine growing up, you're poor, you're only wearing 2 pairs of clothes, and you're like, nah, I want better for my family. I went to so-and-so's house, I want to buy my mom a bed. Now you motivated financially, and you start taking those steps without anger now. You know, when they cause this influence to spread in these areas where poor people that do crime are, they usually spread the narrative that says, hey, you know, they're in Sandton, they are driving Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
They're not sharing the narrative that a vehicle, they're not driving a Lamborghini, they're driving vehicles.
Okay.
And in the poorer areas as well, the area next to ours, there's also vehicles.
Yeah.
See the mentality. The same 4 wheels, and they're all black. Even Lamborghini wheels are black.
Yeah.
The only difference is the luxury or the sound or the noise. The problem is we make wants necessities instead of understanding that needs are just needs.
Yeah.
Real wealth is having your needs set. That's wealth. You're rich if all your needs are set. But then society says wants are necessities, and without that, you're poor.
Yeah.
You can be rich, meaning having your needs covered, but be poor according to society, and relax and work on being rich before society.
Yeah.
It's the anger that will cause you to take a gun and go try rob somebody's Lamborghini because you feel like you having all these needs and this structure to survive is not enough.
Yeah. But I think that anger can also come from many sources. The anger can come from jealousy, but that anger can also come from being tired. In some areas, I feel
Tired of what?
in some areas
Tired
there's
of
less
what?
opportunity.
Who told you? Who told you?
There's less opportunity. You can try, and if you keep failing, you end up getting tired of trying those routes, trying the legal routes, trying
No,
to do
man.
it successfully.
I think you are speaking from a perspective of someone that wears Balenciaga and Louis Vuitton. Let me tell you something. Need. Let's just talk need. I can go to Tembisa right now. So many little kids, families have their needs covered. They have clothes on their back. They have
100%.
food. They have a roof. I need to be in Mall of Africa. I need to be in town. Taxis here, takes me there, brings me back. Yeah, these people are good. I watch TV, I sleep. That's why there's so much humor in the country as well, because we
Yeah.
are good to a degree.
To a degree, yeah.
The only issue is when we mentally try to make one's needs because that's what the society perceives. Are you saying we must stay low now, Mr. Nelson? Are you saying we must remain? I'm saying cover needs first.
Yes.
Then use the mental peace, the absence of being overly influenced by society, the time you have to work on getting what you feel validates your existence. Okay? What you feel the society wants to see. Then you work on getting that Mercedes.
Yeah.
But you're already covered. Nobody should be ashamed of not having a car.
But
It's stupidity.
in the world we live in now, I feel like materialism has taken a big role. So, for example, growing up in school, if you don't have certain clothes, if you don't have certain shoes, yes, you have your needs covered, and that is the most important thing. But when you go into these environments, it's made very clear to you that you lack, even if you have your needs,
Made clear by who?
by people around you, by
By
your
the
peers.
people. Who cares? Who cares?
I think it's hard to speak on who
It's
cares.
hard not to care because
Yeah.
you're around people and you need to interact with people. But garbage is garbage, though. It doesn't make garbage the opposite of garbage. It's still
Yes.
nonsense. The truth of the matter is there's lines, man. And once you get over the poverty line and manage to afford needs, you're now working on getting to that place where you're buying that Louis Vuitton and that Gucci and that and whatever life you feel matters to you. No,
Yeah.
I don't know if I make sense here. My
You are
brother.
making sense.
My thing is, you see, I preach identity.
Yes.
They preach validation. I preach identity. And then identity decides validation. By the way, you see the watch I have on my wrist, man.
I realized
See,
it.
so people are, but you see, I'm wearing Fila.
Yeah.
Someone might say, Fila is a cheap brand. It was not about cheap brand. This thing is warm, my brother, and it's comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's winter. See, so you get to a point of saying, he doesn't care. I don't. You're not gonna pay my bills tomorrow. If tomorrow I live in the streets, you're not gonna save me.
Yes.
So I guess I'm on some adult talk now. me.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, and we have like 5 minutes left. The truth of the matter is, this thing of identity, finding yourself. You know, it's interesting how we started just with relationship and lovers, and now our conversation has spread
Yeah.
to society. It just stresses the value of identity. It really stresses the value of finding yourself and those pillars that can't be shaken.
Yeah.
Me not caring is one of those pillars. I don't care. If you say filler is cheap, this, that, and the third, I'm wearing it now.
Yes.
By the mere virtue of me wearing it fearlessly, it makes it the biggest brand, bigger than the Nike you are wearing, until I wear Nike, and then it's fine.
Can I ask you a question? Have you always not cared? Has it been from the beginning? Because I feel like when you reach a certain position in life, you can afford to not care.
When I started becoming a man,
Okay.
When I was a boy, I cared. When I was a man, I didn't.
Okay.
So manhood is the ability to have pillars that make you strong enough not to care about things that are not going to get you there. And what made me a man is the presence of responsibility, more responsibility on my shoulder.
Yes.
Now I have to take care of things myself. If I don't take care of things, things are not taken care of. It's like making your bed. I love how you can just kick the blankets and roll out. When you come back tired, the bed is like, hey, how are you? I'm still here. You need to make it, So I guess manhood made me that.
Okay. No, that's good. I like that.
You like that?
I like that, yeah.
Oh man, quite interesting. So what do you think of today's episode of the things we're touching? Do you think what I'm saying is relevant or important? Is it adding any value to you or the watcher?
I think it adds value to everyone. I think we live in a world that is very materialistic, and the fact that you can approach it with a sense of realism and say, this is your situation, and kind of not live for your situation, but focus on your necessities, focus on your
Exactly.
needs. A lot of people don't see it that way.
And be
it needs
realistic
to
about
be.
your lines.
Yes.
This is my situation. It's okay. It's okay to be me. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, this is why there's so much hate and jealousy. And jealousy gets to a point where there's witchcraft.
Yes.
Your own family members can bewitch you. Like, we live in such a society and environment. It's crazy. Because you can afford, or because you look good. You know, there are people that will hate you, my brother, for buying clothes at Mr. Price, the cheapest store, and wearing those clothes better than they can.
Yeah.
So now they hate. So hate is a sign of not knowing who you are as well. And sometimes we need to turn haters into students.
Yeah.
And they need to get to a point where they learn how to not be jealous. Because
Yeah.
jealousy is bad, man.
Yeah. It all goes
Jealousy,
back to identity.
difficult to recover from that thing.
Yeah.
Jealousy is, you are so twisted internally that for you to get untwisted and then find yourself is a longer process. So rather don't have jealousy.
Yeah.
So that now finding yourself is only one part of the journey.
Okay.
When you're jealous now, it's twice. You need to undo yourself. And if you're jealous, you don't like accountability because you are hating on someone for achieving something that you don't even know how they achieved it. So, yeah.
I think when it comes to jealousy, a lot of things can turn into jealousy. Even just kind of acknowledging someone being above you and appreciating or admiring their presence.
That's not jealousy. That's maturity.
Yeah, can it not turn into that?
That's not, if you're appreciating them,
Yeah.
it's not jealousy.
Yeah.
That's maturity. You're speaking from a mature standpoint. It's jealousy when you look at them and you're like, this one, I'm going to drop them. I'm going to
Yeah.
go report them. I'm going to find anything negative and I'm going to use the negative thing to pull them down or to share it to a source that can pull them down. Something of that nature.
Yeah, so you should view it as I want to be in that position, not I want them to get out of the position.
Yeah, to get out of the position I can get in. You might
Yeah.
not even want that position. You might not even like that car. You can just view it as, oh, that's an interesting success because I have my own version. You're just showing me how to do things better.
Yes.
So it could be part of your goals.
No, that's amazing.
And we have 50 seconds. So, it's been amazing. What do you think?
It's been a good discussion. I
It's
really
been a-
like the
it's
way
been
the
a-
conversation
It's been a
went.
good discussion. So to everybody that watches our podcast and enjoys it, thank you so much. We are back now and we're not stopping. No more breaks. So thank you so much. And God bless you. And may the Lord keep you. And may you stay blessed in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.